Hello my friends and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a very special video as I'm going to be reading some poems from some fantastic poets all across the world that submitted through my thread on the Poetry Cove. For those of you that don't know, the Poetry Cove is something I've set up to be an all-encompassing poetry community, the world's most extensive poetry community. We've got a forum full of fantastic and supportive poets where poets from all over the world can share their work and promote themselves, or even if you're not a poet yourself and just are a fanatic about everything poetry, you can join us in discussions about all things poetry. You can share your shelves, share your pets. We have everything on there. And eventually we're going to have a 24-hour poetry radio station, a poetry magazine, a blog, a podcast, and even a publishing house. So if you're a poet or you love all things poetry, please do join us at www.thepoetrycove.com. But with all that being said, yes, I'm going to read some amazing poems. I'm not going to read them in any particular order of my favourites. It's just kind of as I was scrolling through the thread, I picked them out. Some of them I couldn't use because they were a photograph and I'm just being lazy. But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy a poem. It just meant that I couldn't copy and paste. But this won't be the one and only video I'm going to do. Maybe on this channel. However, I think Poems from the Cove could be a really cool series for the Poetry Cove YouTube channel. There will be a separate video going up over there maybe next week. So do keep your eyes open for that. And one last thing, this weekend we hit 2,000 subscribers. I absolutely cannot believe it. For some it might not be a big number, but for me it absolutely is. I've been working on this channel for over a year and a half now, so we are steadily climbing. In fact, since December we've been rapidly climbing. So if you are subscribed, thank you so much. Please do continue to leave your likes, your comments, and continue to subscribe with notifications turned on, because it does mean the world to me. So thank you. With all that out of the way, let's read some poetry. Okay, Poems from the Cove. This is titled 10, or a numerical X, and it's by Emmett Burgess. You looked at me and my heart leapt as a butterfly from a flower. How wonderful it is to be worthy of your gaze. The moment you took my hand, no words came out of your mouth. The sort of silence which happens when no words are needed. This is the soul of love. I do not doubt it now. Let your love flow through me and feel it first with my hand. Be tender and understanding. You have the grace and power to do it. For my part, I am ready to make you comfortable as you make me. And then this one is V, or a numerical 5, again by Emmett Burgess. The earth is gay, and in her joy she sings of human suffering. I love that. Next poem is called Two Rivers by Sophie Pauline. Through snowy woods I walk my riverside. By his my lover whispers like the breeze. Two rivers both alike in heart and mind, yet separated by an ocean in between. Cheeks flushing red, though too cold for the sun. And dew-dropped hands, though too cold for a swim. Eternal summer is the thought of us as one. Heat sheds my dress, though winter's creeping in. Though end times worn of rising rays and tides, I'd gladly drown, then watch on as we burn. So just once in his arms I can reside. I'd risk it all to come for you, my love. I'll flood the earth and turn all land to sea. Two rivers, one now. Lover, swim to me. The Man and His Sitar by EDP. Alone he sits upon a stone beneath the morning star, and weaves into the languid world the strum of his sitar. In solemn silence soothingly he plays his repertoire, which flows as though to only be for him and his sitar. A simple silhouette he seems, known neither near nor far, without a home, without a name, except for his sitar. Yet in a blink he vanishes, as would a shooting star, and wafts into a memory, the man and his sitar. Next is Harvest by Rachel Glass. My breath blooms in tiny ghosts overhead. A congregation of starlings embark on their journey south. But the geese on the lake next to the calf are content and will stay for the winter. I, too, will stay for winter. Inside the church, tins of baked beans and boxes of pasta are waiting to be donated to those less fortunate. A combine harvester emerges from its burrow, or whether it sleeps throughout summer. Spreads unwelcome mud on the road. It knows its own strength and could harvest rocks on Mars, but today it's wheat. I point it out to George, who's 4, and say, it's pink. But he's clever for his age and tells me, no, it's blue. He asks, is God a farmer? I've never thought about God's job before, but I like the idea of God wearing green wellies and a flat cap, driving a gold tractor to reap our prayers. I tell him, of course God's a farmer. George is clever for his age and doesn't ask if God exists. Assemblage on Birth by Matthew Hutchins. The chord strikes itself in a blue vein. The symphony forgotten laid to rest with the poets. Perhaps we are all works of art. Perhaps the painter is ourselves. Each thing I have birthed has hated me. What a nightmare to be born. It is a crime to give birth in a spasm or a cloud of dust. The sculptor could not contain himself or his grief for the weeping Madonna and set after her with a hammer to relieve her of her sinful hands. Christ, how I wish to be the sculptor or the hammer, these broken hands upon the floor. Phoenix by Luna Bear. You are your own force of nature. No matter how many times you fall, you always rise. You take the ashes around you and create infernos, watching as you grow, collecting the discarded feathers of past mistakes and disappointments. You wear them proudly and without them dragging you down. The heat and eruption of a volcanic rage is an icy blast in comparison to your formidable spirit. To see you vivacious and resilient, compassionate and radiant, brings a warmth and new life to my too frequent chilled soul. Keep fanning those flames, little man. You'll continue to rise. Broken by Brooke Goodwin. There is nothing left to quench this throat, to stop the sting of those words as they leave your lips. My favourite cup is broken. I should have known not to let you handle as fragile a thing as that, because you never held my heart tenderly either. Wish by Nav Sohi. I want death to embrace you as I once had. It would be easier to place a flower on your grave than to dig one. Your poisons free you while trapping me inside. Patchwork Quilt by Mary Vonal. With the passing of years, the grief of losing you has not disappeared, but it has diminished, becoming another faded square in my patchwork quilt of memories. Lifeguard by Poppy Jones. As he sits in his chair and we laugh, I study the lines that spread from the corners of his eyes, fixating as the creases deepen. I ponder how many lines over these years I've helped create. I silently scream unspoken words at him, as if I am an empty vessel trapped within my own body, eager and desperate words to speak that will never make it past these sealed lips. For I know now, time is faster than I, and it seems to accelerate once truthful, bitter words are spoken. So I simply soak it in, these moments. I study his face, the way the corners lift as he recalls our past. I embrace these moments, storing them away within my mind for fear I'll need them sooner than my heart is ready for. He raises his glass to his mouth, consuming the golden liquid, the devil's broth. Yet somehow it consumes him, ebbing and flowing internally, drowning him from within. I've tried to be his lifeguard. How I've tried and tried. Dragged him onto my lifeboat for him to leap off. All I can do now is watch on, for I am no lifeguard, and he does not want to be saved. Okay, so that's it. In terms of poems submitted by other members, I'm just going to finish off with a new poem of mine, and then I'll see you again next week, my friends, for another video. Again, please don't forget to like, subscribe and comment, and don't forget to join the Poetry Cove either and submit your poems, because as I say, I'm going to be doing more of these videos, not necessarily on my channel, though I might, but certainly on the Poetry Cove YouTube channel. So www.thepoetrycove.com. We'd love to have you. Scarlet 2, 1,000 miles and more. 1,000 miles and more away she waits, sorrowed calls as the saddened owl at night. 1,000 miles and more away he aches, heart bursting through a nightmare lullaby. Our lines are still strings plucked straight from the heart, as each new verse we further to heaven. Stubborn land and sea do keep us apart but rest. My soul resides now in Princeton. Stanza'd bridge and fragranced envelopes can't mask our thirst of touch like the pansies to ether's eye. Our hearts jailed in a dingy cell alone, bail set at an astronomical high. If I could hold you for just a deep breath, I'd drop it all and